Tons of new information on what's happening with Stephanie just came out. We'll also check out what's up with Maxxine, Austin Theory, and more. Starting things off with the massive update on the disappearance of Stephanie on WWE television. It was just in 2025 where Stephanie accomplished her lifelong goal of being part of the WWE main roster. And within a few months of her debut, she was already the women's world champion, and the cards played out perfectly there for her. There's not that many superstars in history who can say they spent their first few months on the main roster as a world champion. But that's something that Stephanie can surely say. She even took the world title into WrestleMania 42 before losing it to Liv Morgan. Stephanie made just around 2 appearances after WrestleMania 42, with that second appearance fully writing her off of television. Stephanie was brutally attacked backstage by all 3 women of the Judgment Day and was never seen or heard from again. With Stephanie now being fully gone and out of action for over 3 months, the rumored reason was that Stephanie was banged up and recovering from many different things. That's been the long-time rumor since the springtime, and now thanks to Season 3 of WWE Unreal, it looks like that report just got confirmed. During a scene that was shot immediately after she dropped the title to Liv Morgan at WrestleMania 42, Stephanie was tearing up and talking about how she feels like her body is asking for a break. She talked about how she just got to WWE, but for how over a decade she didn't take no breaks at all and was always on a grind to make it to WWE. She was so focused on her goal and her dreams that she feels like she didn't take good care of herself and how that was all catching up to her. Stephanie said losing the title happened at a perfect time because how much she truly did need this break. So what Stephanie said there, along with the fact that she was written off for over 3 months, certainly goes paired together. Stephanie was not dealing with any specific devastating injury over the last few months. It was just a combination of everything over the last 10+ years of her career journey that had Stephanie feeling a bit run down, and her fuel tank overall was on empty. So she needed those few months just to rest up and get back to full health again, or as close to full health as possible. So Stephanie is not done by any means. Creative didn't forget her. Her absence is directly tied to the fact that she was just exhausted and banged up overall. Initially, reports in the spring made it sound like Stephanie was only missing a few weeks, but those weeks have now turned into months, and things have definitely got a bit radio silent there for Stephanie's return. There's been no report or rumors about Stephanie's name coming up in any creative discussions, but fans feel like Summerslam weekend and Summerslam week overall could be a pretty decent return spot for Stephanie. Considering the brutality of how Stephanie was written off television at the hands of the Judgment Day, there's really only one option for her return, and that's to take revenge on Liv Morgan and the women of the Judgment Day. So that's why a lot of fans are running with the theory right now of Stephanie appearing at SummerSlam to screw Liv Morgan out of the world title during Liv's first televised world title defense of this current reign. That's a very popular fan theory at the moment, and we'll have to see if it actually ends up happening here in the very near future. A lot of fans' biggest fear with the Maxxine Dupri and Austin Theory pairing appears to be slowly coming true. Maxxine first joined the Vision by helping them win the tag team titles and instantly kissing Austin Theory to reveal their relationship status. This entire scenario was criticized by fans because it felt extremely similar to several elements from Liv and Dominik's story. Liv had a moment where she was proving herself to the Judgment Day by helping them win the tag team titles. And then at SummerSlam 2024, Dominik helped Liv Morgan retain her world title and then kissed Liv right there to reveal their relationship status. So that's why Maxxine and Austin's moment felt like we've seen this before. That's why it felt a little repetitive, because it was like a combination of some of those biggest moments from Dominik and Liv's story. You had the tag team championship assisted win and the kiss reveal. 2 of the big moments in Dominik and Liv's story that happened here for Maxxine and Austin. And as soon as fans realized the similarities, that's when fans started making the jokes about Maxxine and Austin being a rip-off version of Dominik and Maxxine. And we spoke about that during the first week of their pairing. We spoke about how much of an exciting element it is to add Maxxine to the Vision, but how they gotta be extremely careful that Maxxine and Austin don't feel too similar to Dominik and Liv. And a lot of members of the community are mentioning how Dominik and Liv can't be the only couple on WWE television, and how other couples are allowed to exist at the same time as them. And that's completely true. There's been a lot of times in WWE history where they had multiple on-screen couples happening at the same time. But what made it acceptable and a non-issue back then was that every couple had a slightly different act to them. They were all a bit different. Even a recent example from the 2010s, AJ Lee and Dolph Ziggler were much different than Rusev and Lana. Two couples that were on screen around the same era but had nothing in common with each other, no similarities. So that's the argument here. Not that Dom and Liv have to be the only couple on screen in all of WWE, but that each on-screen couple should feel different from each other and have their own act. Because as of this moment, Maxxine and Austin feel extremely similar to Dominik and Liv. It feels like the writers were trying to recreate that magic of Dominik and Liv with Maxxine and Austin, and that's what fans are noticing. Like we spoke about a few weeks ago, Maxxine did address that fan criticism directly, saying that the two couples are nothing alike, especially Austin and Dominik, because Austin is actually beautiful, attractive, and takes showers, unlike Dominik. But even again on the recent edition of Raw, in the Vision's interview segment, Maxxine spoke about how attractive Austin Theory is, how he's the best, and she said all that to get heat from the crowd. And again, that's just a bit too similar to Liv's act with Dominik. So that's the main issue here right now with Maxxine and Austin. A lot of fans feared from the start that they'll feel too similar to Dominik and Liv, and that has been what we've been seeing lately. So if Maxxine and Austin could break away from the Liv and Dominik comparisons and make their act and pairing fully unique, that would do wonders for them for sure. Speaking of the Vision, it does seem like it's gone through another leadership change. The group started with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman as the leaders, but after Seth went down, it turned into a Braun Breaker-led group. But ever since Braun's feud with Seth Rollins ended, and Austin and Maxxine's stories started taking center stage, it now feels like the Vision is currently being led by Austin Theory. Austin Theory and Maxxine are now the leaders and focal points of the group, while it appears that Braun Breaker and Logan Paul are now in the background as supporting characters to Austin Theory and Maxxine Dupri. Bronson Reed is rumored to be ready to return sometime soon, and once he's back, he could also end up being another muscle supporting role for the Vision. So a change in leadership there for the Vision. It's no longer running through Braun Breaker, it's now running through Austin Theory and Maxxine. Another thing fans were discussing with all the recent comparisons and conversations is the idea of them potentially doing Dominik Mysterio and Liv Morgan versus Austin Theory and Maxxine. If fans keep comparing the two couples and there's constant buzz there, would WWE capitalize with a mixed tag matchup? It certainly seems possible. They're both on the same brand, both couples are focal points of their respective factions. It does feel inevitable that they will eventually collide. The only issue with that matchup is who does the audience root for in that matchup? Assuming both couples remain as heels, it's going to be a bit confusing to determine who's the heroes there in that matchup, so that may be an issue there. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.